Now, we should really have a roll of drums at this moment, but I'm going to... Wonderful. As if from... Oh, no, can't be. I'd now like to ask you to announce the winner of Secularist of the Year 2007.
And it goes to Mina Ahadi.
What I'd like to do is to tell you something about Mina. And it's a very, very gripping story for those of you who don't know her history. Mina started her serious political activities back when she was just 16 and living in Iran. She was at university in 1979 in Tabriz at the time of the Iranian Revolution. And she began immediately to organize demonstrations and meetings to oppose the compulsory veiling of women. And this courageous dissent got her noticed by the Islamic regime's authorities, and soon she had to go underground to avoid retribution. By the time we come to the end of 1980, her house was raided by the police, and her husband and 4 colleagues were arrested. Mina only escaped because she wasn't at home at the time. Tragically, her husband and the 4 colleagues were executed. She lived underground for some time and then fled to Iranian Kurdistan in 1982, where she continued to struggle against the Islamic regime for 10 years. By 1990, she had gone to Vienna and moved to Germany in 1996, and has lived in Europe since then. In all that time, Mina has struggled mightily for human rights, particularly for women. She founded the International Committee Against Stoning, that now has 200 branches throughout the world. She also heads the International Committee Against Executions, and is the spokesperson for the newly formed women's rights organization Equal Rights. And of course, as you'll have read in your bulletins, she formed the Central Council of Ex-Muslims in Germany earlier this year to help renounce Islam and religion for those who wish to do so. This brilliant human rights initiative has now been replicated in several other countries, including in Britain by our very own Mariam Namazi, of course winner 2 years ago. Undeterred by the inevitable death threats, Mina has pressed on, determined as ever to protect women from the ravages of Islam. Apostasy, of course, is forbidden in Islam, and in some Islamist states it carries the death penalty, including Iran, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Sudan, and Mauritania. She calls such states Islam-stricken, and her own experience of living and suffering under such regimes has made her ever more determined to rescue others from their clutches. I cannot tell you how proud the National Secular Society is to honour this wonderful, compassionate, kindly, but strong as steel woman. I'd now like to give you a message from Richard Dawkins, who, from his sickbed and laptop, wrote, "I have long felt that the key to solving the worldwide menace of Islamic terrorism and oppression would eventually be the awakening of women. And Mina Ahadi is a charismatic leader working to that end. The brutal suppression of the rights of women in many countries throughout the Islamic world is an obvious outrage. Slightly less obvious, but just as outrageous, is the supine willingness of Western liberals to go along with it. Is it worse than supine? It is patronizing and condescending. Wife-beating is part of their culture. Who are we to condemn their traditions? A religion so insecure as to mandate the death penalty for apostasy is not to be trifled with. And ex-Muslims who stand up and fight deserve our huge admiration and gratitude for their courage. Right out in front of this honourable band is Mina Ahadi. Mina, would you like to come up? And is it any wonder that Richard Dawkins concluded, and salute her and congratulate her on this well-deserved award as Secularist of the Year? Wonderful. I'd now like to ask Elizabeth Mansfield finally to make our own tribute to Mina, partly in Parsi. Thank you.